Hey y'all, it's Beverly Supernova coming at you once again from Nova Scotia. Today we will not be fighting the wind for you to be able to hear me. It is going to be the urban traffic. And no, I will not be telling you where I'm at. You will just have to guess for yourself. So I started off today by heading into the studio to try and work on my album a little bit. And I don't know, I made some cool stuff, I think. I really should be headed home right now to go do studying. I have an exam coming up in a couple weeks here. But I got distracted because I started wandering around the city, and now here I am, and the birds are singing amidst the sounds of the Halifax traffic. So I am just going to put up with it for now. It's an interesting balance when I really think about it. The singing of the birds, the peacefulness of this little area, and then the chaoticness of this traffic, because it's also unpredictable and it's also very loud. I don't know why I needed to say also twice. Realistically, one of those alsos should have been eliminated, and it should have been the first one. But we're just gonna go with the flow. I told you that I'm gonna be trying my best to be candid. We are not going to be perfectionists in this vlog, which is more like a diary, realistically. And also, I told you I was going to struggle to make this daily. I'm not going to tell you how many days have passed. I am just going to tell you that this is definitely not the day after the last time I was filming. And also, in true chaotic fashion, I am trying to do this in a time crunch because my phone is going to die. That's because I kind of got myself caught up, reading, thinking about things, deeper philosophy. And also, where the hell is society headed? I was touching on that in the last vlog, where I was kind of thinking about development and the such. And that's kind of been where I've been thinking these days in terms of the whole grand scheme of intellectualism. It is kind of a transition, though, to go from studying the past and where people have been and where we're at to thinking about the trajectory of where we're going. But that tends to be where I have always gone in terms of studies, I guess. Humans. Isn't that what art is all about? Connecting with that human nature, expressing yourself as a human. That tends to be what I have been drawn to my whole life. Whether it was the media or, any of their major human influence and human creation. So human influence through human creation. So I was talking about anxiety being a theme. Maybe this is the source of my anxiety in a sense, because I seem to be a lot more concerned about what it means to be a human and all of these different aspects of humanity, whereas it doesn't seem to be a grander concern of many other people. And for the people who seem to be very loud on these topics, they don't seem to have backed it up in terms of looking at it from more of an intellectual standpoint rather than just your individual experience. I was kind of thinking about what are even mental issues, what is bad mental health, because I was scrolling through TikTok mindlessly the other day, and it seems like any grander critique or just, mental illness has come to mean so many different things. And I guess being critical in a sense is mental illness to some people, and that's kind of troublesome. I'm going to try my best to channel this throughout my art without inducing further mental illness, if this is what mental illness is. I think that really showed up in my LP. I did 2 songs, Brain Rot and Not Made for a Mold. And Not Made for a Mold was more so about a critique of people constantly trying to make people live a very controlled lifestyle and have to conform to certain standards. I may be just a child of North America in this, where I don't see conformity as a strength. I see it actually as a weakness. Some other cultures around the world I know try to promote conformity as sort of a standard of strength, as somehow a sign of discipline. But from my perspective, I view enforced conformity. People are going to naturally conform to the people they identify with. That's a social phenomenon, but forced conformity is just a power play by ego-driven holes. That's my perspective on it. And I think it's actually a weakness, and it actually prevents ingenuity and innovation. And I think it's actually something that holds back human evolution and cultural evolution and social evolution, which, all are subsets of human evolution. And meanwhile, brain rot, I had written more so about how people seem to expect you to just zone out. Like, I'm not into this whole, oh my God, real life and being aware of real life is so hard. Like, I get it. It's difficult. But I'm not really into the whole, so I should put my head in the sand like an ostrich. Now, there needs to be a balance. I think people need to enjoy their life. I sometimes think about death and how would I view my life when it's all over? Will I have lived the way that I want it to live? And letting my brain rot away is not a value that I personally want to... I don't know. It's not something that I want to... I forget the word right now. Anyways, it's just not something I want to look back on and be like, oh my God, I totally let my mind just rot away. And that's not to say that I think that everybody needs to be in academia or higher education. There's so many different ways to kind of live by this. Like, most people who... I'm trying to avoid the truck. Who live by this sort of thing they kind of move more into theology, ideology, and philosophy. And that can be a positive or negative thing, as in pretty much everything can be positive or negative, but it really depends on how you use those ways of thinking, how you kind of come at it. It really is about your own personal relationship with your journey, and not so much about how other people want to see it or how people want to see your approach. It's really about you. And that's, I guess, another reason why I don't really value conformity. If we were meant to be a conformist society, I think we would reproduce asexually. So then we would just constantly be replicating ourselves. We are not supposed to be replicating ourselves. We are supposed to be evolving. We're supposed to be moving forward. We're supposed to be taking the best of what we got and trying to come to some sort of evolutionary advantage. And conformity is more so about holding people to the past. I see it almost like taking trees and having this old tree that rotted to the ground, and you keep cutting down the new trees because you don't want them to surpass that old tree. And I don't know, like, there's certain things that I want to say, but then I'm constantly worrying about how I'm going to get scrutinized and attacked, because that seems to be a favorite thing of people nowadays. But in the words of like John McCrae, even though I know people are like, oh my God, don't glorify the military. Like, oh my God, these countries and glorification of the military. But I've been really thinking about John McCrae's poem in Flanders Fields, and there's the lines where it's like, to you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. And it's kind of applicable in this conversation where you are not meant to go exactly about it from the same standpoint as the people who came before you, because many of them did not get everywhere they wanted to be. I cut myself off. Got a little bit too enthusiastic with the cut button. You're meant to build on top of. You're meant to be the next stage. You're meant to be the next evolution. You're not supposed to be stuck where they were. And I can't really help it if the military is a bit of an influence in my life. I mean, I can't help where I came up from. And now I gotta worry about if I'm gonna get hit from this direction, because there's gonna be people who are like, oh my God, a social justice warrior. And then I'm gonna get hit from this direction being like, she's going down the far right pipeline. No, see... maybe I'm overthinking it, and that is the source of anxiety. But I don't want to let my brain rot, and I wasn't made to fit a mold, and that is the message I pretty much want to convey. But we're coming to the end of today's vlog, which is really more of a video diary instead of like showing you everything in my life. So peace, and don't you dare forget to like and subscribe.